And so I would like to break the discussion down into a few stages. The first being, what is a shaheed? Why do we have this term, shaheed? How it differs from other terms in Islam? And how these shuhada gain their maqam and why they gain the maqam they have. Without any further delay, we begin firstly, when I say to you the word shaheed, the first thing that comes to your mind is martyr. But there are many different words for this. For example, there is something called a shahid. In the verse I've had the honor of reciting, Surah Al Imran, verse number 18, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Shahid Allahu annahu la ilaha illahu. I bear witness that I am one. You might be thinking, why is Allah bearing witness He is one? We know He is one. Everything in the cosmos and the creation knows He is one. So why is Allah saying, no, I bear witness first of all that I am one. So do the angels. وَأُولُو الْعِلْمِ, those with knowledge. You see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He swears by something, He's trying to tell you, look at its importance. And there are certain a'mal where Allah says, they are so holy that I am also shareek in that a'mal. For example, إِنَّ اللَّهَ وَمَلَائِكَتُهُ يُصَلُّونَ عَلَى النَّبِيِّ يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا صَلُّوا عَلَيْهِ وَسَلِّمُوا تَسْلِيمًا. اللهم صل على. Where Allah is saying here in this verse, I send salawat upon the Holy Prophet, so do the angels. O you who believe, you also send salawat on the Prophet and his family. Therefore here Allah is saying, I bear witness I am one, so do the angels and those who have knowledge. Therefore we find that the word shahid or shaheed means to be witnessing and to be present. It not only means this, it also means, in English we say martyr. Someone died for a cause, a martyr. The Greek word here used is martus. And even in the Greek language for shaheed, martus means someone who has died. He's a shaheed, a martyr, but he's also present and a witness to the same thing. Therefore you find that a shaheed is someone who's not just left this world, they are present and witnessing our actions. You know, you have, for example, the word shahada. Say the shahada is what? La ilaha illallah. You're giving a witness statement that you believe there's no God but Allah, and وَأَشْهَدُ أَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا عَبْدُهُ وَرَسُولُهُ, and the Holy Prophet is his slave and his messenger. You there, when you say this shahada, you are a shahid, a witness to this statement. However, when you're a witness to the statement, is your witness primary or is it secondary? Were you physically there to see Allah creating creation? And when He made the nur of the Prophet and the nurs of the angels? No. Our shahada comes from whom? Our parents. Their shahada comes from their parents. As in, we're all born Muslim, so to speak. Even if you're not born Muslim, when you come into the religion of Islam, you say the shahada. You are now a Muslim officially. Why? You've accepted Islam. You've given mushahida. Now you're not a normal person. You've accepted Islam. Meme with the Islam, Muslim. Similarly, shahada, mushahida, meme with the shahada, mushahida. But Allah is saying here something very beautiful. The ulama mentioned in the tafsir, everything in this ayah is a primary witness, not a secondary witness. Allow me to explain. When Allah is saying, Shahid Allahu annahu la ilaha illahu, I bear witness, I am one. Allah is a primary witness. No one told Allah, you are God. He was there before anything. Then the angels and those who have knowledge. Who are those who have knowledge who were there and their nur was the first to be made? The ulama mentioned this is the nur of Muhammad wa ale Muhammad salawat Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. In what sense? It's because of these Ahlul Bayt and their shahada that the likes of Adam alayhi salam gained his tawbah. That's a topic for another day. Adam alayhi salam did not commit a sin. He did tarki awla. He made the wrong choice. For where the heaven he was in, there was no sin or no laws per se. Allah just commanded him, don't go next to this tree. He went to the tree, ate from his fruits. He committed a mistake. He was tricked. Before that point, he had never heard someone tell a lie. Iblis lied to him. He said, I swear by Allah, you can eat from this. So he was tricked in this sense. It's because of the nur of the Ahlul Bayt where he said, you are Mahmud, this nur is Muhammad. You are A'la, this nur is Ali. You are Fatir, this nur I see before me in the heavens is Fatima. You are Mohsin, this nur I see is Hassan. You are Qadim al-Ihsan, this nur I see is of Hussein. Because of these Ahlul Bayt and their nur, Nabi Adam was forgiven. Therefore, everyone in this sentence, this ayah, Surah Al Imran, verse number 18, is a primary witness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's You could say his uluhiyya, him being one. Apply it to our term today. When we say someone is a shaheed, that means they are also witnessing our actions. The ulama mentioned many reasons. I'll present to you 6 reasons why a shaheed is called a shaheed. A shaheed is what we just said, someone who is present and is a witness. We may think they're dead. The Quran says they're not dead. They are alive. We're going to come on to that a bit later. What are the 6 reasons? The first is, a shaheed is called a shaheed because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Holy Prophet, they bear witness that this individual will enter Jannah. You know, in your namaz you read every day, wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. You first start with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the Prophet. These 2 are the most important beings in our life. Imam Ali and the Ahlul Bayt come after. They're also very important. But the first 2 markazi shakhsiyat in our life are what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger. We got Islam from the Prophet, and Islam takes us back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The ulama mentioned this is why a shaheed is called a shaheed, because Allah and the Prophet give shahada that this person is now going to enter Jannah. The second reason is the shaheed himself or herself sees Jannah when they die. You know, the narration it mentions when Imam Hussein alayhi salam was with his Sahaba for the final time, the likes of Muslim ibn Nawsajah, Habib ibn Madahid, and the other great companions, in their final moments, what did they say? We can see Rasulullah. We can see our maqam in Jannah. We can see the likes of Imam Ali coming to collect us. What was this? It's not from the physical eyes. They saw from the eyes of their ruh, their soul. They saw from, so to speak, their spiritual side. So a shaheed is someone, in this instance, who sees their maqam in Jannah. The third reason is, the soul of the shaheed enters Jannah first. Henceforth, they're known as shaheed, because they are someone who, so to speak, is fast-tracked into Jannah. Point number 4, their blood bears witness, gives shahada that they dedicated their life to Allah. That's another reason why they're called shaheed. Their own blood, their wajood, gives witness that they lived a good life and had khatima bil khair, they had a good ending. For you see in the munajat of Imam Ali, even in Shahr Ramadan, you recite this, I'm sure here as well, across the world, that on that day, oh Allah, the wrongdoer will bite the back of his hand. You say, oh Allah, I wish I did not do X, Y, Z. On Judgment Day, your tongue will not be speaking, your mouth will be closed, your hands will speak. I did this good thing, I did this bad thing. Your eyes will speak. All the parts of your body will be given a form of life to give shahada against you for the bad you did and shahada for the good you did. وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَى وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَى. On that day, an atom's worth of good deed you will see. An atom's worth of bad deed you will see as well. Your body parts will be giving shahada against you. The fourth reason the ulama mentioned why a shaheed is called a shaheed is because their own blood will give good shahada for them. Oh Allah, we bear witness, they died for your sake. Point number 5, a shaheed is called a shaheed because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they witness Allah's divine promise. Allah says, when you die in my path, you are still alive. I provide your rizq to you. They get to see that in the akhirah. And last but not least, a shaheed is called a shaheed because they will be a witness for other communities on Judgment Day. Oh Allah, we were from this community. They are good people. So to speak, they will do the shafa'ah for those people. How did they get this maqam? You see, a shaheed does not get his position simply by going in the way of Allah and dying. There are many forms to this, we'll come on to that later. There's the fiqhi term for a shaheed, there's the general term for a shaheed. A fiqhi shaheed is someone who, when there's a battle, he goes out, he dies in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They say the first drop of his blood when he touches the ground, all of his sins are forgiven. And the narration goes further that even in the books of fiqh, it's narrated, the books of Tahara, a shaheed who's fought in the battlefield, you don't do ghusl and kafan for them. You bury them as they are. And even if you dig up the body many years later, you find that that shaheed, his body is sahih salim. His body is as it was. Why? Because Allah says, it's my promise with them. You died in my way, I will keep you alive in the hereafter. Your death is not a normal death. But there's another general sense for a shaheed as well. Even if you're not on the battlefield, like today, we're in East London, alhamdulillah, there's no wars, alhamdulillah, here. How can you still be a shaheed? The love you have of the Ahlul Bayt. You doing amal bil ma'roof, nahi anil munkar, you're also counted as a shaheed. The narration says, if a person is going to do good, and they throughout their life did good, when they die on their bed, they will be still counted as a shaheed. Same reward, but different maqam. The point being, therefore, you get this maqam how? By doing goods fi sabilillah, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only. Uncle had mentioned earlier that there are some floods in Pakistan, and obviously there's many crises happening across the world, not just in Pakistan, in many parts of the world, but specifically because of the floods and the devastating effect they have caused. I'd like to mention one quick story here, and I believe there'll be a small collection, inshallah, but just to get the hearts ready. What did I say? How does a shaheed get his position? Through being someone who is sincere, fi sabilillah, only for Allah. I'm not doing this for the sake of the community or someone to show off. I'm doing these acts only so Allah can praise me. And if Allah praises you, everything praises you. The narration here is in the time of Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, there was an individual, he told his companions, let's go for Hajj. When they were going for Hajj, he said, wait here for me. I'm going to go to the local market. There's some last minute things I need to get, last minute shopping. Wait here, I'm going to come back. When he went, as he was going to the bazaar in Medina, he saw a Sayyid Zadi, a lady from the house of the Prophet. She came outside. Out of her respect, he said, I moved out of the way and I looked, what is she doing? I saw her leave her home and she went towards where the garbage was, where the bins were, and she picked up 2 dead chickens. She hid it under her abba and she went back into her house. And he said, I thought this is very ajib. Why is she taking those dead animals back home? You know, you can't eat a dead animal. If it's not been slaughtered and it's died, you can't make it, you can't unalive it and then go and slaughter it. He said, I went to her house, I knocked on the door. I said, Sayyidah, don't you know your grandfather Rasulullah brought Islam? That meat you're going to feed yourself and your family is not halal meat. She replied back, oh man, I know the Sharia better than you. But she says, I have 3 daughters at home and we've not eaten for 3 days. If I don't feed them something, they will die. Saving their life in this instance is a greater priority. I'm their mother. They have no father. Their father died. There's no provider. And no one cares for us. So I have to feed them something or they will die. He looked at the money he had in his hand. Now, bear in mind, he did his wajib hajj before. This was the mustahab hajj. He said, Sayyidah, this money is for you and your children. Take it, buy food, whatever you need, this is for you. Now he came back to his kafla, the caravan. They're saying they got their backpacks on, let's go. He's saying, not today, not this year. Saying, why? We were waiting for you. You made us wait. Let's go. He did not tell them, I've given the money to that deserving lady. He didn't show off. What's the thing in mind? Fi sabilillah. He said, I will go next year. It's okay. Brothers, you go. It's fine. I said, okay. They left. When a Haji comes back today, we do a thing called a walima. You congratulate them. You say, well done. They say, if you meet a Haji, it's like you've gotten the thawab of Hajj as well. Similarly, when a person comes back from the ziyarah, you do their ziyarah. It's like you've done the ziyarah of the Ahlul Bayt. Why? This is silsila. The Ahlul Bayt encourage us to come together. Community. The same 2 rakat you read at home, you get X amount of thawab. Same 2 rakat you read in the jama'at, in the masjid, you get uncountable thawab. Why? Allah likes it when you do things together. When this community came back, these Hajis came back, the whole city of Medina was waiting by the gates. They entered, they all said one thing. They came to that man, they said, why did you lie to us? You said you weren't going for Hajj. We all saw you. He said, what do you mean? I never left Medina. They said, no. All of us saw you. Not just one person, I'm not crazy. All of us saw you. If you didn't want to go with us, you should have just told us. Why did you lie? He said, I swear I have not left Medina. But they said, no, we saw you. In the miqat, when we were tying the ihram, we saw you tying your ihram before us. When we tried to come to you, people came in the way. There was a lot of rush. We went to the Rami of the Jamarat, we're stoning the devils, the shaitan. We saw you stoning the shaitan before us, the shayateen. When the time for taqseer came, we saw you doing the taqseer before us. When the time for the tawaf, the Safa, Marwa, Muzdalifah, Arafat, Mina, everything, you were there before us. They came to Imam Sajjad. They said, Yabna Rasulullah, what's this? He's saying he never left Medina. They're all saying he was in Hajj with them. Imam Sajjad says, what you saw in the Hajj, in all those a'mal, was a shabi of this individual. Allah loved the fact that what he gave in his way was so sincere. not to show off, not for the likes, not for the Facebook, the Instagram, so to speak, not for the cameras. What he gave in the way of Allah was so sincere. Allah created an angel who resembled him. All of those acts that angel did are written in the a'mal of this individual. Through what? Through the sincerity that he's done. So similarly, inshallah, whatever we can contribute, Allah does not look at the amount. He looks at the khulus in quality over quantity. Whatever we can give, inshallah, today or after the majlis in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for those affected by the floods, inshallah, you get your ajr in this world and the hereafter. Can we recite aloud? Salawat. I believe the collection will happen now, or we could do, yeah. Can we recite another loud salawat, please? Allahumma salli. In honor of the Ahlul Bayt, another loud salawat. Coming back to our point, alhamdulillah, so our discussion was what? Shaheed. Why they called Shaheed? We gave 6 reasons. Then we looked at how they got their maqam. We said it's fi sabilillah. Now we're coming on to the second part of discussion, and inshallah we'll finish with this. Second part is how they got their maqam and why. To begin with, the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And I paraphrase, he says that when a shaheed dies, there's a musk that comes from their body which is like any other khushbu. And their maqam, their ruh, their light is like saffron. You know, if you look at saffron or zafran, it's very bright. Just like the redness of saffron, their color on Judgment Day will be bright like that. And any person who asks Allah to be a shaheed, inshallah, Allah will make them a shaheed. It's a beautiful story here by the name of a person named Al-Khutayma. Al-Khutayma was an individual in the Battle of Badr. Him and his son, they had a family together. So him, his wife, his son, and son's wife, they all lived in one house. He said, Baba, I wish to go and fight in the Battle of Badr. He said, no, me first. I'm your father, I want to go first. He said, no, but we both can't go. If we both go and both die and become shaheed, who's going to provide for the family? That's also a haqq on you, by the way. In the sidelines here, sometimes we think that we don't need to provide for the family. No, you going to work, you going to uni, college, whatever, for the sake of your family is a greater jihad for you. There's an individual who, when he died in Medina, in the sidelines here, he left all of his property to charity. Every single thing. The furniture, the house, everything in the house, that's it. His wife and his children were on the streets of Medina. Rasulullah said, what's happened? Why are you on the streets? She said, Rasulullah, my husband just died. You read the namaz al-janazah? He said, yes. She said, he left everything to charity. Me, my children, we have nothing. It's because of him. Rasulullah said, if you told me this before, I would not have buried him in the Muslim cemetery. I would have buried him in the Kafir cemetery. He died as a Muslim, but what kind of Muslim does not leave for his family? Providing for your family is wajib, is a farz upon you as well. Here, this Al-Khutayma and his son are arguing. One of us has to go. They put their names into a hat, so to speak. The name of his son came. So the son went to Badr. He became one of the shaheeds of Badr. A few weeks later, he came to Rasulullah. Al-Khutayma, he said, Rasulullah, I saw my son in my dream. And he said, whatever the Prophet told us about the maqam of the shaheed happened to me. He said, Rasulullah, now I want to become a shaheed as well. Rasulullah said, keep praying. Inshallah, Allah will give you that maqam. The narration says, this Al-Khutayma was then martyred in which battle? The very next battle, the Battle of Uhud. Meaning what? That the dua of a shaheed is something very powerful as well. Praying for shahada is a good thing, but realize what time you're living in. Right now, the ulama mentioned, this time is the time of Muslim ibn Aqil. As in, the Imam of our time wants us to live. Yes, the time for shahada comes as well. But the part of the world we're living in, the Imam-e-Waqt wants you to live. There's so much mass media out there, so much false information, so many things. We mentioned this previously, I'll mention it once more. www. World Wide Web. Why is it a web? Surah An-Kabut, the Quran says what? The web, the spider, has the flimsiest of homes. The spider does not make a home to live in it. He makes a home to trap people into it. Those are my brothers like me. I used to be very addicted to this, and I'm not afraid to admit it. FIFA. You're playing games, 1 pack, 2 packs, 3 packs. Before you know it, it's the whole night. Everything's gone. It's part of that web. www. World Wide Web. 1 scroll, 2 scrolls. You're about to sleep. You have work the next day. A very good thing. But this was the minor jihad. Get ready for the greater jihad. So, Ya Rasulullah, this was the minor. What's the greater? We're going to have to weigh 100 kilos. We're going to fight twice the size of the army. He said the greater jihad is now against your nafs. When you're all alone, that's your greater jihad. The real you is you when no one's watching. That's your greater jihad. This is the time of Muslim ibn Aqil. People say they're with you, but when the time for truth comes, what? It's only a few. Khalil. You know, like Imam Hussein says, some people, their religion is only up to their tongue. We believe in Allah, we believe in the Ahlul Bayt. Ya Allahumma ajjal walik al-faraj. Oh Imam, come, we're ready for you. But when the time for test comes, you find there are only a few left. This is the time of Muslim ibn Aqil. Be very careful in how we live our life as well. Your greater jihad for the Imam of your time is to do amal bil ma'roof in this condition. It's not, so to speak, to go out in the part we're living in and give your life. Come back to our point here. We move forward. Love of the Ahlul Bayt. All of us here, you've taken time out. You've come from work, school. You had a busy day. You have work tomorrow as well. May Allah bless you all. You've given your service for the Ahlul Bayt. Why did you come here? Love of the Ahlul Bayt. When you go home tonight and you rest and you sleep, you reflect how the day went. What was the purpose of it? Am I now closer to Allah than I was yesterday? Am I now further away from Him? Whatever you go through in life, know when you're with the Ahlul Bayt, they will point you back in the direction of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No matter how far you think you've gone. The greatest sin is what? To say, Allah will not forgive my sin. And the wasila we have, there's no wasila like the wasila we have. Has anyone got Imam Musa Kadhim like how you have Imam Musa Kadhim? Has anyone got access to say the Fatima like how you have access to say the Fatima? Dua Tawassal, Dua Kumail we just recited. Dua Abu Hamza Thumali. Tomorrow the day of Jummah. Realize how precious and how lucky we are. How blessed we are truly. A person came to the 7th Imam. He said, Sayyidi, I have a doubt about my Iman, about my Aqidah. How do I know what I have is special? The Imam gave him an example. He said, if in your hand there's a diamond and the whole world says it's a walnut, would that change what's in your hand? He said, no. I know I have a diamond. The whole world tells me it's worth nothing. It's a walnut. I know it's a diamond. The Imam said, now opposite. In your hand is a walnut, something you can just eat. It's worth a penny or something. But the world says to you, mashallah, look at that diamond. Would that change what's in your hand? He said, no. I know what's in my hand. I can't trick myself. You know, a person, a thief, a fraudster, he can do fraud against the whole world. Can't do fraud against himself. He knows what he's doing is wrong. He enjoys it, he likes it, that's a different thing. But he knows what he's doing is wrong. When he looks in the mirror, he knows what he's doing is wrong. The Imam said similarly here, the wilaya, the love you have for the Ahlul Bayt, that's the most precious thing you have. When we die from this world, what do we take with us? Our kafan and your a'mal. The jism goes back to the ground. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un is for the soul. Soul goes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's heavenly. Hence why Imam Hussein said, don't sell yourself for anything less than Jannah. Coming back to our point about the shuhada, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to say, that these shaheeds hold a special position in my eyes. We're talking about shaheeds in the battlefield, but shaheeds also who live their life being good citizens of the country they're living in. Shaheeds who follow the law, who know it's hard to make money, halal rizq, but they're still trying. The narration goes further, it says, if a person lets go of 1 haram dinar, or a haram penny, translated into English in our times, 1 haram penny they forego for the sake of Allah. They could have stolen or done fraud, but for 1 penny they've forgiven in the way of Allah and not done haram, that's better to Allah than 2,000 rakats of salah. Why? Because you are now, it's harder to stay away from haram. Prohibition is harder than the sin itself. Allah knows that and He respects that. the love we have of the Ahlul Bayt is the best example. Saying this though, however, even if you're a shaheed, be it through your love for the Ahlul Bayt, be it through the battlefield, whatever it may be, if we are not good mu'mineen, there's no point. You've heard of the example of Sa'd bin Mu'adh. Sa'd bin Mu'adh was this individual in the city of Medina. They say he recited all the time Surah Ikhlas. Qul huwallahu ahad. Always there in namaz al-Jama'at, always there with the Prophet. He died, became shaheed in the battle of Khandaq. During the battle of Khandaq, he had a cut gash on his thigh. This gash was so deep, it didn't stop the blood. He died because of blood loss. When he died, the narration says, Rasulullah came to his janazah without his abba. And he walked barefoot behind the janazah. And he was walking very slowly. He said, Rasulullah, why are you walking so slowly? He said, there are so many angels here. Up to 70,000 angels. I don't want to step on their wings. They're coming for the janazah of whom? Sa'd bin Mu'adh. When he came, they say Rasulullah buried him with his own blessed hands, did the tadfeen, recited the talqeen, then he stood back and he put his head down. The mother of Sa'd bin Mu'adh came, she said, Ya Rasulullah, surely my son is in Jannah, no doubt about it. Rasulullah with his head down said, don't say this. Your son right now is going through adhab in the qabr. She said, Rasulullah, it doesn't make sense. He died as shaheed. We just mentioned how many points for the shaheed. So he's guaranteed Jannah. Secondly, you performed the janazah. You came yourself. You said there's so many angels, 70,000 angels. You're walking very slowly. You did the tadfeen with your blessed hands. You did the talqeen. Who better than you? So why is he going through adhab in the qabr? Rasulullah said, because of his akhlaq towards you and the family at home. When he used to come home in the masjid, mashallah, he's the greatest. When he used to come home, he used to get rude to his wife, to his mother, to his father, to his siblings. Because of his akhlaq at home, Allah is now punishing him in his grave. Shaheed. But hukuk Allah comes after, hukuk al-abad comes first sometimes. If I owe someone money, God forbid, if I've hurt them, that's their hukuk over me now, their haqq over me. Before Allah can forgive me, they need to forgive me first. Same thing with riba, backbiting. So common nowadays. Very easy to do. Mu'min leaves the gathering, look what he was wearing, look what he was saying. He thinks he's this, that. The pro brother didn't think of this at all. Very quick to spread this about them. Those kind of sins, Allah can only forgive you if that person has forgiven you. Therefore, to be a true shaheed, live like a shaheed. As in a true shaheed, through your akhlaq, through your a'mal, through how you live your life. I end with another few examples just to really highlight my point. Examples of great shuhada. We read in the ziyarah of Imam Hussein, As-salamu ala al-Hussein, wa ala Ali ibn al-Hussein, wa ala awlad al-Hussein, wa ala ashab al-Hussein. As in all of the sahabas of Imam Hussein, the sahabis, from Habib ibn Madahir, the greatest, they say, because he has his own qabr. When you go for the ziyarah, may Allah allow all of us to go to Karbala, you see Imam Hussein in the middle, then the shuhada of Karbala, then Habib ibn Madahir. He has his own grave. Why? Imam Sajjad says he is Shaykh al-Ansar. He's the special companion, the special friend of Imam Hussein. He has his own maqam. Bury him separately, Imam Sajjad says. But from Habib ibn Madahir all the way to Hur alayhi salam. Where's Hur buried? He's not buried in the haram of Imam Hussein. He has his own separate shrine. To visit Hur, you have to make the extra effort. Shaheed as well. But collectively they're known as what? Assalamu ala Hussein, wa ala Ali ibn Hussein, wa ala awlad al-Hussein, wa ala ashab al-Hussein. They have one identity. He was from Turkey, he was from Basra, he was from Kufa. They're now ashab al-Hussein. Identity is one. But the ulama go very further than this. It's a very beautiful point we don't realize. In the ziyarah, when you recite the ziyarah, you say, Ansara Rasulallah, Ansara Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ansara Fatima al-Zahra. One respected alim Medin in Qum, he says, I did research on this. Not one sahabi of Imam Hussein was there for Lady Fatima. You can make the argument they were there for Imam Hassan. They were there for Imam Ali, like Habib ibn Madahir. He was in the battles with Nahrawan, Jamal, Safin. But for Sayyidah Fatima, no one of these sahabas of Imam Hussein were there by her door. When the attack happened at Sayyidah Fatima's door, who was there? Imam Ali, Zubair, and the others. Salman Farsi, Miqdad, Abu Zar. So why is it Imam Sadiq in the ziyarah of the Shuhada of Karbala is saying, you are the Ansar of Bibi Fatima? To answer this, there's a famous line of poetry that Shah ast Hussain, Badshah ast Hussain. Deen ast Hussain, Deen Pana ast Hussain. Sardad na dad dast dar dasta Yazid, Hakake bana ila ila ast Hussain. He gave his head, not his hand, in bayah to Yazid. Why? This is the hand of Rasulullah. This is the hand of Sayyidah Fatima. This is the hand of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Symbolically, this is the hand of Adam, of Nuh, of Yaqub, of Yusuf, of Musa, of Isa, of all the great prophets. When you stand for the Imam of your time, it's like you're standing for all of the Ahlul Bayt. So in this ziyarah, when you say Ansara, Assalamu alaikum ya Ansara Fatima al-Zahra. Even though they weren't there for Sayyidah Fatima, when they were there for the Imam of the time, Imam Hussein, it was like they were there for Sayyidah Fatima. Allah respects that. Similarly, if we are there for Imam in Zamana, he is muntadhar and muntadir. He is waiting, but he is also being awaited. It's 50-50, so to speak. We're waiting for the Imam to come, but he's waiting for us to come. In the brackets, and the ulama mention, don't go by the signs. By the way, the signs they say are happening quite quickly. Time, there's no barakah in time anymore. We're in 2026 almost. Who remembers New Year's Day 2025? Happened like yesterday. It's almost 2026 now. Shahr Ramadan is right around the corner. We just had iftari a few months ago. It's coming back now. How? There's no barakah in time anymore. In Akhir al-Zaman they say the year will go in the month in the minute in the hour in the minute in the second. There'll be no barakah in time. It's happening now. The narration goes further. In Shahr Ramadan, there'll be 2 eclipses. One in the middle, one in the end of the month. One lunar, one solar. What happened just this Shahr Ramadan? Not many people realized. There were 2 eclipses. We read 2 namaz ayats, which is wajib, by the way. One in the middle, one in the end. One was solar, one was lunar. A few weeks ago, 7th of September, again, blood moon. The narration says these eclipses will happen more and more. But the narration then, the ulama mentioned, don't go by the signs. The signs are not conclusive. When the Imam comes, all the signs might not have happened, but he will still have his zuhur. Why? The conditions need to be there. What's the main condition? The readiness of the people. So when we leave today from this majlis, let's say there's around 40 of us, we are part of the 313. There was a special show he was doing. When he's driving the Formula 1 car, he's not talking about himself. He's talking about Michael Schumacher. He's saying, think like Michael Schumacher. Be like Schumacher. They said, why? The teacher said, because he knew my specialism is in athletics, not in driving. When I'm driving this Formula 1 car, I need to be the best. To be the best, you need to think like the best. Similarly, for the Imam of our time, who's going to be like Habib ibn Madahir for him? Who's going to be like Mullah Abbas? There's only one Mullah Abbas. No one can be like him. But act like the Abbas for Imam Zamana. Who's going to be like Muslim ibn al-Sujjah? These examples there for you and me. Other examples we have of shaheeds in Islam, Hazrat Hamza, the first Sayyid al-Shuhada. They say when he became shaheed, Rasulullah said himself, he's Shayyid al-Shuhada. But Hazrat Hamza was Sayyid al-Shuhada in his time. We have Imam Hussein as Sayyid al-Shuhada in our time. Hazrat Hamza was Sayyid al-Shuhada because he was there in Uhud for the Prophet. Similarly, Imam Hussein is Sayyid al-Shuhada because he was there for Islam. Similarly, like Bibi Maryam is Sayyidatul Nisa, yes, for the people in her time. But Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra is Sayyidatul Nisa al-Alameen, till Judgment Day. Different maqams, same line but different maqams. To be a true shaheed, we need to make sure that our niyyah is firstly pure, but that we follow this in our actions. How? Connect to the Imam of your time. That being said, even if you die on your bed, you die because of an illness, you will still be counted as a shaheed. A shaheed is not just someone who dies on the battlefield. May Allah have mercy on all of our shuhada. I finish on this last example, and I've been requested to recite some words of musibah, masaib, just so that we can gift it to the souls of our marhumin. In the time of Saddam Hussein Mal'oon, they say he killed up to 2 million Shias himself. Time of Saddam, the Ba'athist party in Iraq. One day they let out some of the prisoners. They lined them up in a line. They said, we're going to ask you 2 questions. 1 question, in fact. Yes or no? If you say no, you can go home. So these prisoners have been tortured for months and weeks. They've not seen the sunlight. He's telling them, if you say no to my question, I can let you go home. The gate's open, go home. What's the question? He lined everyone up. He came to the first person. He said, are you with Hussein Are you against Imam Hussein? You know, 1991, he destroyed the shrines. Are you with Imam Hussein? Are you against Imam Hussein? The first person said, in his heart, he loved Imam Hussein, of course, but he remembered his children, his family. He couldn't take the torture anymore. He said, I'm not with Imam Hussein. They said to him, go home. He went. Second person, are you with Imam Hussein? Are you against Imam Hussein? He also said, I'm not with Imam Hussein. Taqiyya, go home. Came to the third person, are you with Imam Hussein? Are you against Hussein? He said, I am with Hussein. He thought they're going to send me back to the torture camp. Doesn't matter. But I'm with Imam Hussein. They say he took out a gun, point blank, and shot him in the head there and then. He dropped dead instantly. Shaheed. Now everyone else in the line knows, if I say yes, what's going to happen? If I say no, what can happen? Came to the fourth person, are you with Hussein? Are you against Hussein? He said, I am also with Hussein. Shot him as well, Shaheed. All the others said, we are not with Hussein. They let them go. So 2 people were Shaheed, everyone else went home. All of them later narrated the same exact dream. They said, all of us, we had the same dream. What was the dream? They said, in our dream we saw Sayyid al-Shuhada, Imam Hussein, coming and burying one person with his own blessed hands. Then he held another person and took him with him. We asked him, who are you burying? And why are you taking that person with you? The Imam replied, this is the first person who said, I am with Hussein. Out of my love, he became Shaheed. I am burying him with the Shuhada of Karbala. Symbolically. Obviously, he was buried in Iraq, somewhere else. But it's like he is buried with the Shuhada of Karbala. Then he said, the second person I'm taking with me, he knew what would happen if he said yes. And he knew what would happen if he said no. I am taking him with me. I am going to bury him with myself in Karbala. Obviously, physically, no. But symbolically, how? When you're with someone, you're with them forever. We mentioned some words of musibah, that Imam Hussein, your musibah was great. We have La ilaha illallah because of you. We have Hajj because of you. We have Umrah because of you. We have Quran because of you. We have Namaz because of you. Roza because of you. Zakat, Khums because of you. Everything in Islam we have is because of the sacrifice of Imam Hussein. You saved the deen. But Imam Hussein would reply, Zainab saved my efforts. And it was not an easy sacrifice. When Imam Sajjad came back to Medina, he said himself, he gave a tafsir of the ayah in the Quran which talks about Nabi Khidr. When Khidr, in the third example with Musa, that wall was falling down and he straightened it, the Quran says, because the father of those children was a good man. Imam Sajjad stood there in the people of Medina. He said, when the Quran mentions this example, that man was not the direct father. He was the great-great-great-grandfather. Then Imam Sajjad says, but people of Medina, why did the Muslims treat us in this way when we are the direct grandchildren of Rasulullah? The narrator says, when I looked around, everywhere I looked, people were crying loudly. They realized the zulm they did. Then Minhal came to Imam Sajjad. He said, Sayyidi, you look at water, you cry. Food comes, you cry. You go to the butchers, you cry. When will you keep crying? Imam Sajjad says, Minhal, you did not do justice to me. He said, why, Sayyidi? He said, Yaqub lost one Yusuf for a few moments. And the Quran says he cried so much his eyes turned white. Oh Minhal, I saw 18 members of my family killed in one day. Why should I not cry? He said, but Sayyidi, crying and this shahada is in your blood. Your father was shaheed, your grandfather was shaheed, your uncle was shaheed. Why do you keep crying? He said again, Minhal, you've not done justice to me. How comes, Mawla? What's happened? He said, Minhal, yes, shahada is in our blood, but is the taking of my mothers and my sisters in the bazaars of Kufa and Sham. Is that also part of my inheritance? He then said, Imam Sajjad, where was the greatest musibah you went through? Imam Sajjad did not say Karbala. He did not say Kufa. He said, Asham, Asham, Asham. What I saw in Sham that happened to my sisters and my mothers and my children is a musibah like anything else. But I finish with these words. When Sayyidah Zainab came back to Medina, the women of Medina, the narration says, saw her white hair. They saw how she had now become frail and old. They said, Sayyidah Zainab, what made you so old? Lady Zainab said, there was one janaza in the Zindan of Sham which has made Zainab old. What was that janaza? When Zainab and Sajjad came to the body of the 4-year-old Aziza of Imam Hussein, they would try to remove her shirt to perform the ghusl, but her skin would begin peeling off as well. They said, why is her skin peeling off as well? It's because of the beating she took from Karbala to Kufa to Sham. This was the Aziz of Imam Hussein. But what about Zainab? I finish with these words. When Zainab now came back to Medina, she came to her home. But this is not the same Zainab which left Medina. When she came in front of Abdullah, her husband, he could not recognize her. She said, Abdullah, it's me, Zainab. Why don't you recognize me? He said, oh Zainab, why have you become so old? She replied, Abdullah, the things I saw in Karbala and Sham. Then he began asking her, how did Abbas fight on Ashura? How did Hussein fight? What about Ono Muhammad? What about Qasim and Ali Akbar? Lady Zainab kept telling him about everyone. But at one point, Abdullah, the narration says, fell unconscious. When Zainab woke him up, she said, Abdullah, which musibah made you go unconscious? He said, Sayyidah Zainab, what made me go unconscious is this. When you were speaking to me, I saw on your arms, there were so many deep bruises on your skin. Oh Zainab, how did these bruises come upon your arms? My heart says Bibi Zainab would have cried, Abdullah, when my Abbas was no longer with us, they took us with the ropes and they tied us and took us through the bazaars of Kufa and Sham. Oh Abdullah, when my Abbas was no more, they took us as captives through Kufa and Sham. Allah la'natullahi al-qawmi zalimin wa sayalamu allazina zalamu ayyamun kalibiyan kalibun. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala